If you're going to make something, it's part of a story. It started before you came in contact with the materials and will continue long after.
Jonathan's autism made me think why I'm building this house. He taught me responsibility.
I was investing in my block. I was investing in my life.
There is an alternative way to live.
We are trying to use 3D printing to show that homelessness is a solvable problem.
And now we're in the business of community building.
We're here to change things. We're here to make things different.
There's probably good reason why they've always made a door like that, why that's usually the way it is. But what if it wasn't?
Hi, Doug. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I think it's very fitting that you are the executive producer of a docuseries called Home, and we are all doing these interviews from home.
It's unbelievable. The timing of this, you'd almost think we planned it out. It's crazy.
I found myself completely entranced in this docuseries. I was extremely fascinated from episode to episode of the different, not only homes, the different people that you were able to include in this docuseries. Talk to me about that journey when you first decided to explore this realm.
Well, in fairness to my fellow executive producers, I was not there at the very beginning, but I can tell you that I was immediately, when I did get involved, and I directed 2 of the episodes and executive produced, throughout for the rest of the series, I just was fascinated by this balance of, we're telling a story about a home, but it's not an architecture show. It's not these are these beautiful mansions that we all wish we could live in show. And it's not just cribs. It's a very different thing, with all respect for all those shows, which is a totally different thing. I just was so attracted to this idea of this, there's a person behind this, that it's about the homeowner as much as the home, because ultimately it's about what idea did they have that was innovative and what inspired them to do something different. You know, the old phrase that Apple, it was their old advertising slogan, think different. This is a very Apple show in that sense, that every one of these characters thought differently. And they actually had some problem they were trying to solve. And well, let's just do something different. Let's try this. And none of them are easy, but they all succeeded and they all have different benefits.
I was very fascinated with a lot of the backstories and, with the participants of how, their childhood or things that they may have experienced traumatically inspired what ultimately their home or various homes became as adults. I would like to know how you guys not only find these people, but then break it down to just these 9 stories that you wanted to tell.
Well, there's probably thousands of similarly innovative homes around the world. And we had the sky's the limit. So we had the entire globe to choose from. It really came down to the stories and kind of what you were just saying about, I really like the stories that where something in someone's past, usually a problem, usually a conflict, usually something they're trying to break out of, becomes a solution. So I love the story of Gary Chang, who lived in this tiny apartment his entire life in Hong Kong. And yet he's a brilliant architect. He still lives there today, and he's just transformed it so many ways that became the thing. And I think we find this throughout, when you're studying creative individuals or leaders, or often some problem in their childhood or their life becomes the very defining thing of their personality and their strength. And I think these homes are similar. The other, another example is the Sweden episode, Nature House. Well, Anders had a lot of struggles. It was really hard for him to build this cabin in the woods, and he hit on this innovation. He also was struggling because he had an autistic child, which, as we all know, is extremely difficult for parents to cope with and to raise and to create a good environment. And he found that home, that living in nature much closer than the rest of us do, inside of a greenhouse, just had this enormously positive effect on his child. And I think that's really cool. I mean, I think So back to your question of when we were searching for these stories, that always became the most important thing, was the homeowner, or sometimes they were the designer as well. What were they after? And did they have some formative experience that led to the home that they actually built or lived in or had designed for them, whether it was in India or Bali or wherever? They were all very different stories.
The one in Chicago actually really touched my heart to have. Is his name?
The Astor Gates.
The Astor, thank you. How he, came from the south side of Chicago and realized that, it was something that he didn't want to see that architecture go away. He wanted to invest in his community. So many different stories.
They're all like that. Every single one of these stories, if you really look at it in that way, they're all about investing what you have. None of them are about running away to some, running away and going somewhere else. None of them are about importing a bunch of materials or other things. They're all about people, just like the Astor, saying, no, I'm going to invest in what I have here, and can we make it better? Can we make something that's enriching to this neighborhood or the environment or this way of life? It's the same thing in India. Anupama, this architect, she invests in the local craftspeople who've been doing these, making bricks and making tiles and things for hundreds, centuries. There's nothing new about the materials she's using, and it enriches her community by using these materials. And it's this incredible celebration. And I think if you go, same thing in Austin, where the guy, he builds on a toxic waste site, which is kind of amazing, but he makes this gorgeous home, and then he brings back all of the Texas native wildlife. Every one is about rejuvenation.
Apple TV Plus is streaming home right now. Please go watch it. And thank you so much for your time.
You're very welcome. Nice to meet you.
Some individuals, instead of asking why, ask why not.
You can build castles out of grass. What else can you do?
Homes built out of recycled materials would be contributing rather than taking.
I don't know if I can change the world. Right now, I can change my world.
One of the unexpected byproducts of believing in my neighborhood is that it's allowed me to feel safe and free and home.